Hello, my name is Edwin Rutsch, and I'm the director of the Empathy Center located here in beautiful Santa Barbara, California. The center's mission is to build the empathy movement and to raise the level of empathy in society through education and community building initiatives.
And my name is Anita Nowak. I teach at McGill University, and I'm the author of Purposeful Empathy, a book that invites readers to turn up the volume of empathy in their lives.
And at the beginning of 2024, Anita and I co-hosted the Empathy Summit, brought to you by the Empathy Center, and more than 40 authors of books about empathy participated.
They shared what their book was about, why they were motivated to write it, and what they hope readers will take away. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you'll buy their book. It's my pleasure now, penultimate speaker of the day, to introduce Andrea Goulet, who is a technology leader and the founder and chief technical officer of Heartware, an organization that specializes in making empathy concrete and relevant to the context of building software. She's the author of the forthcoming book, Empathy-Driven Software Development: Quality Code Through Human Understanding. Welcome to our summit, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Anita. It's so great to be here. I'm really honored because my book isn't finished yet. I started writing 3 years ago, and then I thought I knew what empathy was. And then when I dug into all the research, I realized how I didn't really know anything. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I started my career in communications and marketing, and I was a copywriter. I felt like I had a very technical understanding of empathy. You can't do strategic communications unless you understand other people. So I had a lot of training in it. At my 10-year high school reunion, I ran into a friend of mine. His name's Scott, and he's the kindest person I've ever met. I ended up marrying him later after we became business partners, but he was really interested in modernizing existing software. So if you can imagine, like, if you've ever seen like one of those HGTV shows, like Fixer Upper or something, where they go into a house and it's like a really good bones, but it just needs to be modernized. That's what he loves doing. And he was like, "You've got a programming mindset. You should come be my CEO." And I was like, "I don't know anything." But I did, and I actually really, really liked it. And what I found was that the way that you make software better is through empathy. And I learned all about these new practices like Agile. And I just felt like in order to make all of these things work, you really had to apply empathy. So we made empathy our number one core value. But then we went to a consultant who was like helping us kind of with some strategic plans. And the feedback that we got about our core value was, you can't use the word empathy in software because you will be laughed out of the industry. And this was like 2009. So I'm so glad that we've come so far, because now I'm writing a book with the term empathy and software in the title. So what I am is, if you go through my LinkedIn, what I am a distiller of complexity. That is my superpower. And so getting into what empathy is, I've figured out some of the models, because when I've been speaking at software conferences, engineers want precision. They want to know how. They want to know, give me something that I can execute. And when I first started talking about empathy, because I kind of didn't listen to that consultant, and I was like, oh, that means that I'm on the right track because there's an opportunity for change. And what I found was that a lot of times people think that software developers are so antisocial. They're not. They are some of the kindest and most compassionate people I know, but it's a stereotype, and it's awful. And I can tell you that the reason that I feel so drawn to writing this book is because if we want to fix the biases and if we want to fix the technology, we need to talk about empathy in a way that the people who are building the technology can understand it. And I just felt like I had this very unique perspective where software developers like what I have to say because of the way I frame it. And I have a lot of credibility because I've been in the industry for almost 15 years now. But I also have that technical understanding of empathy. So I'll share with you just really quickly kind of three of the models that I've built, and then kind of a definition that I've come up with. So I actually have some slides. So let me see here. Am I able to share my screen? Here we go. Oops. All right. Can everybody see it? All right, so this is the definition that kind of I have been working on over the years. Heidi, your book was so amazing. And I actually, after reading it, wrote a LinkedIn article called Trying to Define Empathy as like nailing Jello to the wall. And like over the years, this is kind of how I think of it. It's a mechanism, right? And humans evolved it. And it's the mechanism that drives us to connect, collaborate, and solve problems as a social species. So if we want to solve problems, we need empathy, right? We also have like, what is collaboration? So reverse engineering that, collaboration is an output. It is something that we can observe based on things that we get before. So there's kind of 3 different types of conflict, and we want to get the right conflict. Productive conflict is where we can leverage our differences so we can solve those big challenges. When empathy is working at its best, that's where things work. But there's 2 other types of conflict. We have process conflict, which we need. If we all agree, that's not good. We're going to do our best when we're disagreeing with each other all the time. But we need to use empathy on a reciprocal way. So this is Damian Milton's double empathy problem, in order to work together. And when we have that personal conflict, that's where we have a depleted capacity. So that's where kind of we can't even get along. So we can't even talk about what we want to do to solve the problems because we don't even understand each other. So another way to look at this is kind of empathy being part of a broader, like, mechanical system. So compassion and well-being is kind of the potential energy. And what we need to do there is we need to have a bigger gas tank, right? But potential energy doesn't go very far, right? We need something that has movement. And to me, that is the communication. Those are the interactions. Those are the things that we're constantly doing. And if we can use empathy as an engine, then we can have interactions that lead to more collaboration instead of depleting us. And then the collaboration, we need to monitor and maintain that. That is the useful work that we are looking for in order to, solve these big problems. So we can also look at this in kind of complexity theory and systems theory, where this is kind of the, I'm thinking of it like the standard model of empathy these days. But, in software, we have what we call system architecture, which is like, how do all of these different pieces and parts all work together to deliver working software? So on the outside, we've got capacity, right? So that's like Helen Reese's talks about how, it's a capacity, it's multidimensional. Well, what are those things? We also have interactions, right? So, a system, we've got things that are interacting all the time. And then we have what I call empathy leverage points. And, these are bringing in, like, I wrote down how many, like, this is just a small list of like all of the different theories of empathy that I've tried to just like really incorporate here. So it's a little easier to understand. So resonate, that's that affective empathy, connecting to emotions, regulating. This was a big one for me with Jean Dicity. He's out of the University of Chicago, and he focused on the functional architecture of human empathy. I was so excited. And he uses a lot of the terms that feel very familiar in software. But emotional regulation is important. Collecting evidence, not just assuming that we know, like that's some of Kevin Orshner's work on context, right? We have to consider a lot more. Reason is the cognitive empathy. Reflect, this is William Ikes's work on empathic accuracy. We can't just assume, we have to check, Responding is that behaving with intention. Reviewing is incorporating that learning so that we can get to know each other better, and then we're more motivated to want to work. And then resourcing is the optimizing motivation, where that's some of Jamil Zaki and Erica Weiss's work around empathy as a motivation theory. So those are some of the models that I'm working with, and now I'm in the process of trying to form a narrative out of all that. But it's been a fun problem. And I think that, to me, my mission is to operationalize empathy into the tech industry so that 10 million software developers are actively using this every day as they make decisions about the technology and the software that they're building. So, and empathy-driven development is, I just got that website pointing to where you can sign up for stuff. So.
Thank you so much. And your passion for the topic, I hope your voice is thread through the book, because then it'll be a very reader-friendly book, right? Full of empathy for the reader. Thank you so much.